All right, so the last two cards I pulled here, which was the very first one, is the Six of Wands. This helps us to understand what brought you two together, and this is the card that helps us to understand what challenges that you're facing at this moment. Passion, communication, flow. There's nothing moving. It's very stagnant. And considering that we just literally got out of a Mercury retrograde, I don't think any of these are going to be really kicking gears and moving fast yet, because we got to go over all the degrees that Mercury went over. Okay? This is the third time we're going to be going over these degrees, so everything may not necessarily start off super fast or start off super propelled, and there may not be real new energy coming in until after Mercury goes over all the degrees that he just went back over. So that being said, I do kind of get this feeling that without communication, there is a bit of a hiccup regarding teamwork. Okay, I do see that there's either potential for there to be greatness in the relationship, but it all depends on how everybody participates in the relationship. What's everybody's roles? How can everybody contribute to the relationship? What is their balances? What is the offsets? What is going on that can basically balance both sides, right? Balance both you and your partner. So pick the side that resonates with y'all the most. We're going to go ahead and get started with either one. But we're going to get started with this side here, rather. But yeah, this person is starting off with thinking that the relationship is a bit confusing, which is a good thing that the honeymoon card is coming up, because at least this is about reflection in a sense. Now, I know the moon is typically never read as a reflective kind of energy, but regarding the honeymoon card next to the moon, I kind of feel like this is really a confusing time that allows everybody to just kind of, look within themselves to find whatever they need to find, which is, courage, which is love, desire, interest. What does everybody want out of this relationship? What does this person specifically want out of this relationship? This person is ultimately confused. And it mainly has to do with the fact that they don't really want to make a decision right now because they're afraid of the choices that they're afraid of the choice that they may make that will alter their relationship. Because when the Two of Swords comes up, this is talking about changing things altogether, right? And again, typically people don't see the Two of Swords as changes because it's not really necessarily a change. What you make of this card, whatever you make out of the decisions, they have to do with, they change your circumstance, they change your outcome. Which is why I feel like this person is not only confused and not in the present right at this moment. They can't be because, well, the decision that they have to make is difficult for them to. But they also... This is about taking the moment to really look within themselves, figure out what they want, right? Because it does change the outcome of whatever it is they're dealing with. It does change the outcome of the relationship based off of what they decide, right? Because if they want this, they gotta go that direction, right? They can't have it both ways, unfortunately, and I think they know that, which is why, in a way, this is them kind of, they're not completely, disconnected from the relationship. They're just they're confused on their part because it's not because of what the other person is doing. It's clearly of what they do and what they don't want and their contradictions. It's just kind of like it's like a crazy weird it's like, I don't know how else to explain this. It's like this person is having a hard time figuring out what they want, and therefore it's showing itself in the relationship. Therefore, they can't really be, they can't contribute to the relationship because they're confused, right? This is why they need to look within themselves. This is why they need to figure out what they want. This is why this moon energy is not going to go anywhere until they reflect within themselves. They need to figure out what they desire in this relationship. Okay? Because right now they have a lot of options and they know it. They know they have a lot of options. They know they have a lot of things to choose from. And in a way, it's kind of weird. It's almost like this person's also kind of keeping a secret too. And I don't typically see the Seven of Cups and the Moon as necessarily completely secrets, but this is disillusionment. This is some things that are not real, right? Trying to weed away the unrealities or the in-realities or the things that are fake and trying to get to a realistic point of, space and time. And this person looks like they're kind of I don't want to say this person is orchestrating a confusing energy, but in a way they kind of are, because they don't want to face the reality themselves. Two of Swords is just like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to even interact with this. And if you got the energy coming up with all of this craziness, that means that this person is trying to deny the situation is actually happening. They kind of want to keep up the facade. Oh, everything's cool, everything's great, everything's wonderful, but they're not necessarily happy. They're keeping up the facade that everything's great because they're afraid to take the leap that's necessary to make their situation a lot more easier to deal with, less anxiety ridden. You know what I'm saying? This person is showing that this is all a facade because they're not willing to address what's wrong with the situation. They're not really willing to address, hey, there's something actually going wrong. And that too is a blow to the ego, because what is the thing that we have that brings you two together? It's the six of wands. Right? The Six of Wands is all about pride, right? And this person's pride is in the situation, I think. They're like unable to acknowledge what's going on, acknowledge the, inconsistencies or the uncertainties in the relationship, because it does affect their ego. And they don't know. Them not knowing affects their ego as well. They don't know the problem, so they act like there's nothing there. They're acting like something else is going on, when in actuality, they know something's wrong, but they don't know what to do with it. They're not feeling strong enough to handle the situation, but they are very strong. They just don't see themselves like that right now, because they're not addressing the situation head on. So there's an example as to why all this is happening. What brought you two together was pride. So obviously pride is going to get in the way of dealing with a situation that is not perfect. Now this person knows that this relationship does require hard work. Okay, the Eight of Pentacles is definitely a card that indicates hard work, hard labor, like focused, intense, effort, everything like that. The person is aware that there's going to need to be some serious work put into this relationship. And how they're showing this is not someone that's necessarily all about, what's not real and what isn't. This person knows what they love, know what they want, know how they feel. They're very aware of their own emotions and the other people's emotions. I love the King of Cups because he understands where he begins and where other people's, where he begins and where other people end, and vice versa, right? Where he ends, where other people begin. He doesn't ever intertwine or confuse his feelings and emotions to other people. He's super sensitive to understand other people's and be able to be in tune to other people's feelings, but he does not let that intertwine with his own. He does not let that confuse his own stuff, right, Scorpio? So this could be you right here, but the situation is that right? Even though this person knows that there's a lot of work here, they are also very much in love. They're very much, receptive at this moment. They're not taking action right now. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, it's not necessarily a bad thing or anything like that. This person is just not taking action at this moment. They know work needs to be done, but they are in a they're in a state of receiving rather than doing. And I feel like the reason why is because the Chariot, considering that the Chariot is the reason why this person's coming up as the King of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles, it's like they're under control of themselves. They know what they want. They know that whatever they're trying to manifest and fix of themselves, whatever they're trying to do here to manifest the thing that they want the most, either in the relationship or in regards to a relationship, they know that they have everything under their own control. So the Chariot to me is someone that's under control. Someone that's balancing their head and their heart to be able to, create a cohesive flow. Now this person, like I said, is doing a lot of mental work, doing a lot of working on their own mind, taking a moment to just, focus on the inners, right? Like I was saying here with this person, they definitely need to reflect. I think this person is doing that very thing. They're working on either their spiritual energy, their spiritual development. They're working on their emotions, understanding their emotions, putting themselves in a seriously, through some seriously strengthened emotional training, I would say, maybe. Or they're like dealing with a lot of situations or insecurities that they may be dealing with, right? Maybe this is about them working hard at being vulnerable, being more vulnerable with the people that they love, right? Building trust with that. But this person is definitely aware that work needs to be done in this relationship, because how they think of this relationship is, oh, okay, there's a lot of things that need to be worked on. But this is not something that's, this person's like, oh my God, all this work. This person is intent on doing that work, whatever is necessary to get to where they want to be, because they love what's in front of them. They love it. All right, this is the Six of Wands that I would reflect to being proud and happy, right? Happy with what they have. And also pride in the sense of this is something that someone does not want to let go anytime soon. This person is willing to do everything it takes to work on this relationship, as long as it does not extend themselves to the point where they're no longer centered. Because I think the reason why this person is able to to have the Chariot in their spiritual plane is because they are centering themselves as they're focusing on what the situations are. They're aware of what really needs to be done, right? There's that Pentacles energy, that tangible energy, the stuff, the reality of something, and then you have, emotions and everything. So I think there's some things that need to definitely be addressed here. And with the Eight of Wands being the crossing, there's not a lot of communication. I think this person is trying to get themselves, sorted out and, dealt with. But the communication isn't really there either. The communication isn't really there in the first place. And I think that's one of the main issues. It's not just only progress and passion, but also the communication. Because this person doesn't really feel like they could communicate. They don't think they can communicate on two reasons. One of those reasons is because they're too proud to admit that there's something wrong, or too proud to admit that there's something wrong and they didn't realize it, or they're too proud to admit that there's anything wrong because it's something that maybe was their idea or whatever. There's a little bit too much going on here. But at the same time, they can't talk because they don't know what the hell's happening. They don't have any words to formulate what the hell's wrong in the first place. So they're just sitting here kind of like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. Not because they just, I don't think they can, be that vulnerable yet to admit something's wrong, because they're still trying to figure out how to fix it. But they can't do that without something, something tangible, something real. I think they're trying to figure out what they want to do with the situation instead of how to handle it, really. I don't really see a real problem, to be honest, because the situation is not coming up as Pentacles. There's nothing tangible here that's a real problem other than working together, teamwork. Why do we have the Three of Pentacles coming up in here, the Three of Cups? Support is the real issue, I think. If there is an issue with that, I think I don't even know if there's a real issue for some of you guys. I think some of you guys are being the supportive person. The King of Cups is definitely someone that's very supportive. But the other person can't really support anybody else because they're dealing with insecurities. They're dealing with things that are, making their anxiety jump, right? They're uncertain of the situation. They're not helping the situation by treating it like something is everything's totally fine, keeping up aroused, keeping up a mist, or not seeing the situation in a realistic front because they're afraid to make a decision about what it really is, what really is plaguing their mind, what's really weighing on them emotionally, right? They have to communicate based off what they want, and I feel like being emotionally vulnerable like that is what's causing them to be this, uncooperative with the relationship and with themselves. It's interesting. But progress is definitely not going to be had until somebody acknowledges that there's a decision that they have to make that may or may not make or break the relationship. Something's up. I don't know why this person is so hesitant on making a decision. But I think maybe the reason why is because it would require them to acknowledge the fact that something isn't quite right. Or maybe that there's some things here that, being open emotionally about something would unveil a certain secret, and not like somebody's cheating on somebody sort of situation. It could be that there's a third party situation in this, and I'd rarely say that at all, because I want to look for certain cards, but you got this situation here with the Three of Cups and the Three of Pentacles. There could be that somebody has to decide whether or not this fantasy that they're living in regarding another person is something that they want to actually pursue, or if there's any lucrative potential or any sort of real potential for happiness in that, right? So that's what it kind of looks like to me. Is there really any real happiness with the person that they're running away with, running away in a fantasy with? Is there really anything realistic with these options, with this option here? Or is the other person that's obviously with the, that's with the pentacles here, do they really see, is there anything that can be reconcilable? Is there actually something that you can work on with this person versus something that feels nice in the moment, feels great, but does, is it real? Is the situation real? Is this opportunity that's presenting itself to you, is that real? I don't know. I think this is just a lot of denial of what's real and what isn't, because they're afraid to work on something that they either didn't get right, or they're maybe just afraid of pursuing something, maybe afraid of rejection, afraid of hurting people. I have no idea why this could be, and there's not much I can do to really get down deeper to that, because there's so many different levels to this, so many different stories to it, that, it doesn't, they all can play a factor for different people. Oh my goodness. Surrender to divine timing. See, that's what I'm saying. This person's under control. Like, this person is centering themselves, doing what needs to be done. They know it needs work, but they're centering themselves. They're aware of what is. They're aware of what comes and what goes. They're aware of what's theirs and what isn't theirs. Okay, and I kind of feel like with the King of Cups there, with the Eight of Pentacles, this person is like, I'm willing to work on it because I love it, not for anything else, not because it's going to take a long time, not because of anything. I just love this. And this is them being centered. This other person, though, I don't know if this is necessarily, I don't understand how this can apply for this person, though, but I'm going to read the captions. Let's see. Sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. Ooh. Well, this is really waiting on them then. This is them. This person's honestly, it looks like they're patient, they're open to receiving, they know they need to put in work, but they're in a position of receiving because they've already done the work. The Chariot is balanced here. The Chariot is the head and the heart. I think this person is ready to go, but they're not given the go yet, which is why they're not taking any further action. This person has to make the decision that they need to make, even though it may be difficult, because they are the divine timing. Whatever decision they make will change the course of time, will change the course of whatever they're going. Like I said, that's why this person's having a hard time making a decision. It's so extreme. I think that's the reason why they don't want to make that decision, because it's so extreme. And I don't think they're happy with where they are, because holding those two swords like that, knowing if you ever hold a sword, it's heavy. This is not a comfortable position to be in. So making the decision is important, but I think they like being the center of attention, but they like having the options there. They like having that sort of sense of freedom, because being committed to something, committing to an idea, is too restraining. In a weird way, I'm getting the sense that this person has a problem with making decisions with stuff because they feel it's constrained or constraining. But they do. If they don't, they're constantly going to be in a place of confusion, uncertainty, and a very masculine energy. Okay, I'm not saying that the moon is deteriorates masculinity, but this person not being in the know, it does affect the ego, and it does, cause other problems and discomforts and old issues to come back up. And that's not a problem, especially if you're ready to face those. Or it's not a problem because we all have to face those problems eventually. But I kind of feel like this person is going to cause the situation to get worse before it gets better, because they're not making a decision that they need to make for themselves to make themselves feel stable. Because this person is stable. This person is not. And they're not making it any better for themselves because they just are afraid to make a choice. So until they make a choice, there's no movement. And is it okay for this person to sit here and wait? Are they okay with waiting for this person to make a decision? Or are they going to live their best life by doing what they need to do for themselves and having their heart light open, like the King of Cups says, bringing them the right person regardless of who it is?